All right, today we're going to dive into something really powerful. It's a piece from the graphic novel Seven Generations, and it's called The School. This is a deeply personal, really unflinching look at one of the most painful chapters in Canadian history, the residential school system. And we get to see it all through the eyes of a single family. We're about to witness one pivotal moment in that much larger story. So, our story kicks off in 1964, and what we're looking at here is a memory of home, a moment of just pure peace. You see two young people on the land watching geese fly overhead. It's a scene that's all about connection to each other, to the land, to family. This is what home is supposed to feel like, right before it's all about to be taken away. But this piece would not last. That single sentence, it's a turning point. It's this sharp, somber transition that takes us from the light of that beautiful memory right into a profound darkness. And that darkness leads us inside a residential school. This is where the story shifts to focus on the loss of identity and innocence. Now, you have to understand, these government-funded, church-run institutions, they were created with the stated goal of educating Indigenous children. But their real purpose? It was assimilation, to strip away who they were, their language, their culture, their very sense of self. Here's where we meet a young boy named Thomas. He's being led by a priest into this cold, sterile bathroom. Just look at the visual contrast here. The imposing figure of the priest against the small, vulnerable boy. The atmosphere is immediately intimidating. It's such a clear display of the power imbalance inside these walls. And then we hear the priest's words, "You see, you're a dirty boy, so we're going to clean you." The cruelty in those words is just staggering. They're not talking about physical dirt, are they? No. They're an attack on Thomas's very being, labeling him and his entire heritage as something that needs to be washed away. As the priest starts to strip away the boy's clothes, you really get the chilling metaphor. This so-called cleaning is actually a systematic process of erasure. It's about removing every single trace of his home, his family, his culture. It's the physical act of stripping an identity away, and you'll be better for it. This line is delivered like it's a promise, like it's a justification for all this cruelty. It really represents the entire flawed, devastating ideology behind the whole residential school system. This belief that one culture could just be forcibly replaced by another, supposedly for a person's own good. The door closes, it shuts out the world, and plunges Thomas into darkness with just that tiny sliver of light left. It's such a powerful symbol of the isolation, the fear, and all the hidden trauma that happened behind the closed doors of these institutions. Well, after enduring so much, something inside Thomas just breaks. What happens next is a desperate escape. But it's not just an attempt to get away, it's a raw and powerful act of defiance. We hear the memory from an older Thomas looking back. "I struck him so many times. It seemed like an eternity." You can just feel the raw emotion in that, can't you? This wasn't some calculated act. It was a desperate explosion of pain, a fight for survival from a boy who had been pushed far, far beyond his limit. And listen to how the sound of this confrontation is described. It uses such stark, unsettling imagery, clattering hands, like applause. That comparison is so haunting. It turns this moment of violence and desperation into something deeply surreal and disturbing. And in that moment of chaos, Thomas runs. He just flees through the darkness of the dormitory right past the beds of the other sleeping kids. The urgency is just palpable, fueled by adrenaline and total fear. Now look closely at his face here. It perfectly captures his state of mind. There's absolute terror in his eyes, for sure. But there's also this fierce determination. The key thing here is that he isn't just running from something. He's running for his life, for his freedom, for any chance he has to reclaim himself. And finally, he bursts through a door and out into the vast, cold, snowy night. That suffocating darkness of the school gives way to the stark, uncertain freedom of the world outside. He's escaped the building, but his journey is far from over. And that leaves us with a final, lingering thought. When you run from a place like this, a place that has tried to erase you, what do you run towards? And maybe even more importantly, what parts of that place follow you for the rest of your life and for all the generations to come?